the diesel hatchback segment really is a two-horse race between the Hyundai Elite i20 standing here besides me and the VW Polo GT TDI. But if you have a budget of 8 lakh rupees, which makes more sense for you? We'll find out on the show today. While looks are subjective and a matter of personal choice, it is the Elite i20 which makes a strong case for itself with its stylish exterior. Key styling elements of course include those nicely stretched out lamps up front, along with that big grille, and the C-pillar which is blackened out also looks very stylish. This is a car which really does appeal to your heart when it comes to the looks. That said, the Polo is a good looking car as well, and VW have recently updated it with minor changes, both to the front and the rear. The Polo will appeal to those who prefer stylish but sober looks. It looks solid, classy, and very German in its silhouette. But in the overall analysis, it is the i20 which clearly stands out. Where the i20 has the slight edge over the Polo is in the fact that the opening is really wide, and what that means is that you can really load in longer luggage with ease. There's very minimal intrusion from the suspension into it, and in terms of luggage capacity, it's actually 285 liters, which is pretty decent considering it is a small car at the end of the day. Well, as you can see, it's a nice and deep boot, and it's a very well-shaped boot. It's a very square boot. There's a bit of a loading lip, but that's quite okay because you can really load in a lot of luggage in this car. Well, as you can see, we've put in our obligatory camera bag into it, and as you can see, there's still space for about 5 more of this size, and that really makes it one of the better cars in this segment in terms of luggage carrying capacity. Well, so here I am inside the new Elite i20, and this car really offers you a lot of feel-good factor about it. Everything really feels very nice and very plush inside this cabin. In fact, it feels like a much more expensive car than what it is. Well, the quality of materials is really good as well. Everything really feels really well put together, and being a Hyundai, of course, you get all the bells and whistles. In fact, this car in terms of equipment really is a long way ahead of the Polo. But that said, some of the switchgear doesn't feel as tactile and as solid to operate as the Polos does. Well, in terms of cabin practicality, the i20 has the edge over the Polo because you get this big box over here where you can put a small can of cold drink at. You also get 2 cup holders over here, a small tray over here to keep your cell phone at, big door bins where you can actually house those big water bottles. But the biggest advantage that this car has is the fact that the glove box is air cooled, and what that means is that whatever you put in it in a long journey, it will remain cold. Also, here I am now inside the Polo GT TDI's cabin, and as you can see, it's an all black interior, and that really does lend it a very sporty feel. Well, the other good part about the Polo is the fact that the seats are very comfortable, and that along with the height adjustable seat really makes it a very easy affair of getting into a comfortable position. In terms of practicality, it's a good place as well. You get 2 cup holders over here. There's a small tray right up ahead, and there's a tray over here also where you can put your cell phone and that wallet. And the door bins have got large enough bins to hold those water bottles at. So in terms of practicality, a very good place in the front seat. Well, in terms of overall build quality, no other car in this segment can match VW's Polo. This car really offers you solid build all across the cabin, and it really does feel like a very sophisticated and very upmarket place to be in, and everything has a very nice and tactile feel. All the switches really feel very good to operate. But where the Polo simply cannot match the i20 is in the fact that that car offers you a lot more features and also has a cabin which feels very good to be in. It feels like a place you really enjoy being in. That said, of course, as I just mentioned, this car really is all about solid engineering and build quality. Well, here I am inside the back seat now of the Elite i20, and this car definitely has the edge over the Polo in the back seat department. As you can see, knee-room is pretty generous, headroom is good as well, and this car is very wide at the back and doesn't really have a long transmission tunnel unlike the Polo, which has one. And what that means is that whoever's sitting over here will really have a lot of space to stretch out. Also, the Elite i20 offers you rear AC vents. Now, this is a feature which the Polo doesn't offer, and you also get bottle holders in the door bins where you can generally house that big bottle. And one more place where this car definitely has the edge over the Polo is in the fact that it offers you a pocket at the back. So in terms of practicality and in terms of space and comfort, the Polo clearly loses out to the i20. Well, in terms of the rear seat comfort, the Polo simply cannot match the i20. As you can see, headroom is just about decent and kneeroom is also just about adequate, but again, it's not as good as in the i20. The seats though themselves are very comfortable and very cushiony, and definitely have the edge over the i20. Well, unlike the i20, which also offers you rear AC vents, this car doesn't have that even as an option, and the door bins themselves are not deep enough to house big bottles in. And what all these things mean is the fact that the i20 is much better in terms of rear seat comfort against the Polo. Well, so here I am driving the GT TDI now, and this car of course comes with a 1.5 litre diesel engine which develops about 104 bhp of power and about 250 Newton meters of torque. Well, compared to the i20, the Polo only gets a 5-speed gearbox. The i20 of course comes with a 6-speed unit, and even though the Polo is a lot more agile in terms of overall handling and even the ride comfort is better, the i20 definitely has the edge in overall refinement. The diesel engine on the i20, the CRDI, definitely feels a lot more refined and a lot more quieter than the Polo's unit. Well, where the Polo has a clear edge over the i20 is in terms of overall driver dynamics. This car feels a lot more agile and nimble than the i20 does. Well, unlike the steering wheel on the i20, which really does feel very woolly and doesn't really have good communication, the Polo's steering wheel really does feel very keen and very agile, and that along with the dynamic chassis really makes it a better car for the driver. It's a much more keener car to drive than the i20 for sure. Well, so here I am driving the Elite i20 diesel, and this car comes with a 1.4 litre diesel engine which develops about 89 bhp of power. Well, even though the i20 is about 14 bhp lower in terms of power output from the Polo GT TDI, well, in terms of real world performance, the i20's lower output doesn't really feel like much of a difference because the mid-range of this car is really very punchy. There's a lot of power and torque available from around 2000 rpm till all the way to 4000 rpm. Well, if I had to describe the driving dynamics of the i20 in one word, I would say effortless, and that really is the word to describe this car best. That's largely due to the fact that all the controls are very light. The steering wheel, for one, is very light and very easy to maneuver around town, and the clutch as well as the gearbox is also very easy and light to operate. Even though the i20 has a very punchy diesel engine, the dynamics of this car are not up to the Polo's because it doesn't have the same agility as the Polo offers, nor does it have the same poise when you are on the highway. And even though it is pretty stable in isolation, when you compare it to the Polo, well, it doesn't really feel as well poised or as confidence inspiring as that car. Well, the ride comfort on the i20 is definitely better in the city. That's because it has a very softly set up suspension, unlike the Polo, which has a slightly harsh edge to the ride. But the i20 feels at home when you are in the city. Well, so in the overall analysis, it really is a matter of choosing between your head and your heart. The Elite i20 standing here besides me really comes across as a superb package. It comes with a lot of features, a comfortable cabin, and a very refined and punchy diesel engine, and really is a very good car and something that should appeal to your head. Well, but that said, if you are someone who really loves driving and are a keen driver, then the Polo really does pull all the punches and is a car which will really appeal to your heart. But to be honest, you really can't go wrong with either one of them. Both really are very good products in isolation. Well, and if you want to know more about these two cars and their rivals, head to our website autoportal.com. Well, if you're in the market for a premium hatchback but want something more affordable, you can also watch our Hyundai Grand i10 video by clicking on this link below. Also check out our Fiat Punto Evo video by clicking on this link above. And as always, don't forget to subscribe by clicking on this link over here. It's bye for now and hope to see you soon.